Going into my first year of engineering at U of T, I expected there to be way more studying and for me to get lower grades. But I feel like there are just so many more small challenges that students face that really makes university way harder for us. And in this video, I want to share some of these challenges and also share a really important perspective shift that anyone can take to make university easier. So let's get right into it. One of the two big factors that make the academic aspect of university way harder is the constant demotivation. My first ever midterm in university was for Calc 1, and going into that midterm, I was super nervous because I had no clue how hard it would be. Even though I was in U of T engineering, deep down I still wanted to do well because in high school I was a high 90s average student and I thought I was smart, so I wanted to be an above average student in university. So long story short, the midterm was super hard and I ended up getting a 64 on it, which is pretty close to class average, so I guess it's decent, but I was still disappointed by the mark I got. After getting that mark back, I really started doubting myself and I didn't feel like I would do well in my other midterms, and it felt like getting 4.0s in university was impossible. I actually did end up getting 4.0s, and I'll explain the change in mindset that really helped me get there at the end of the video, but I feel like many of us face a similar situation many times during first year. We're constantly getting notifications to check our marks only to see that we did 10-20% lower than we expected, and we're always feeling like we're messing up. This really brings down our self-confidence. And when we constantly feel like it's impossible to do well in university, it's so hard to stay motivated and keep on studying. I'm not saying the reason why university is so hard is just because our marks are lower. I understand that anything new, including going to university, is going to be hard and we have to learn how to get better at it. But I feel like what really prevents us from getting better at school is how exhausted we are. A semester is super short, like it's 12 to 13 weeks, which is really not a lot of time. And during midterm season or exam week, things just get super intense. Like during first year of engineering, I had a midterm or maybe even 2 midterms every week for 5-6 weeks straight. And during exam week, I literally had 5 exams in 9 days, like one every other day, even on a Saturday. And imagine you're in one of these super intense weeks, like you have 2 midterms, one on Tuesday and another one on Thursday. You study super hard for the first midterm, but you go and write it and you end up messing up really bad. You're gonna feel so sad and demotivated. But the thing is, you can't just be like, oh man, I messed up so badly, and go and take a 1 or 2 day break to try to tell yourself it's okay. Maybe you could take a couple of hours to calm down, but you have that midterm coming up on Thursday, and you kind of have to forcefully lift yourself up to go and study for that midterm. On top of that, life is just hard and things happen sometimes. Like if you have things going on in your family, or you're just not in the right mental state right now, it's really hard to pick yourself up and go back to studying. When we're constantly not giving ourselves time to recover and we keep pushing one midterm at a time, we just end up really exhausted and burnt out. This exhaustion makes it so hard to find energy to do well academically in university. And for me personally, I felt like this exhaustion was kind of the root of why university is so hard, and it branched out and had negative impacts on both my social life and myself, making university even harder. Maybe I'm making excuses and I'm just too lazy, but I really felt like I didn't have the energy to join clubs and stuff during first year. Being a commuter also made things hard for me because I would commute like 3 hours and this gave me less time and energy to do extracurriculars. I could have definitely squeezed in an hour each week to do something, but I just didn't feel like I had the energy, excitement, or will to do it. And on that note, I don't know if it was because I was a commuter or I was just too tired to join clubs, but I really felt it was super hard to make close friends in university. I am pretty introverted, so I might be a bit biased, but in high school, you sit beside the same faces every day, you're kind of forced to talk to them, and you naturally make friends. But in university, even though you see the same faces every so often, you kind of still have to go out of your way to talk to them. And when you're so tired and just focus on getting good grades and getting enough sleep, especially if you're introverted, I feel like it's super hard to make friends in university, and this can make university a bit lonely. And if you go back to that tree, this is why I felt the exhaustion from academics kind of branched into making social aspects of uni harder. And in regards to self, I really do feel like university is such a great environment to avoid distractions, meet like-minded people, and really make yourself better. Like in high school, you have to go to school at a fixed time, but in university, there's just way more independence, and you could really make the most of the time you have to learn a new skill, work out, or even start a new business. But when we're so demotivated and exhausted by academics, and always feel like we're not going to do well, this lack of confidence can kind of flow into other areas of our life and really doubt our ability to do well in anything. If we go back to the tree analogy, how we try to improve our social lives or ourselves, I really feel like the academic aspect of university will really hold us back because it's the root of all the problems. So the only solution to making the university experience better is to simply fix the root. And I know it's super hard to actually do well academically in university, but the first step anyone can take is to recognize that university is just a big transition in our lives that we can eventually overcome. If you think about it as a skill for yourself, like there are certain levels that you have to transition to as you move forward in life. The difficulty of the transition just depends on how big that transition is for you. And after you make that transition and look back, it doesn't feel that hard anymore. Like transitioning to high school seems so intimidating at the time, but looking back at it now, it really wasn't that hard. And also, transitions are not just a school thing. Like when we're learning how to play a new sport, a new instrument, or a new video game, we're always leveling up and transitioning. Initially, it's super hard, but as time goes on, we get better at it and it becomes easier. But back to academics, the transitions we've been on so far are so small and subtle that we might not even have felt it. But going to university is probably one of the biggest transitions that we all made in our life. It's such a different learning environment and really have to rediscover how to study effectively and how to have some sort of balance in our life. Most of us, after we enter university and face a few setbacks, we think this transition is too big and then we just end up accepting mediocrity. Not getting the best grades, feeling demotivated all the time, and not having a balance in our life just feels like the only option we have. But if you compare going to university to something hard you overcome in your life, like learning how to play the violin, learning how to hit the crossbar, doing well in university is the same thing. It is going to take a bit of practice, a lot of time and energy, but I promise that if you set your mind to it, give yourself about a year and you're going to see a massive change in your academic performance. And when school gets easier, all the other stuff like having balance in your life, doing extracurriculars, and even your physical and mental health will get better as well. That being said, it's not easy to get there, and there are going to be a few parasites that try to kill our university tree. Like for example, when everyone around you is in this just passing mindset, like they're like, oh, just passing is more than enough, or C's get degrees, it's really hard not to get sucked in by this mindset and start to believe that C's is the best you can do. To really do our best academically, we have to break out of that mindset or prevent ourselves from falling into it, and I explain how you can do that in this video right here. So make sure to check that out. And if you haven't clicked that video yet, then thank you for watching. And if you found this video useful, then make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.